So, I guess first we'll start talking about the Army. Kind of asking, why did you join the Army? What'd you do? Where all did you go? And, like, what was your overall experience in the Army?
So I guess I'll start from the last question. The overall experience, honestly, was pretty mixed emotion.
Yeah.
Was a pretty
just-
mixed emotion.
Yeah.
Joining the Army was definitely an experience that most people won't ever experience. I've been overseas, went to Afghanistan. I was in Poland, Germany, Missouri, New York, just all over, pretty much everywhere. I was military police, deployed a couple times across Poland and Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be here. So I thank the Army for instilling a lot of how I conduct myself now onto everything.
Okay. So you think it was an overall good experience? Like, why'd you end up getting out? Like, what was the reason?
That's always the great question.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it was my last year. I got deployed for the Ukraine, Russian whole thing. We were going to be one of the first boots on grounds because we were already in Poland, deployed there. And finally, after 5 months, a little bit over 5 months, we came home, and it was time to do taxes. And I was like, oh, yay, fun, taxes. Everybody's going to get their money. But I'm a kind of a numbers guy. So I was looking at my taxes. Honestly, I was bored, and I was like, all right, let me just see what this all looks like.
Okay.
Then I looked. It almost said $38,000 for an entire year, and I deployed twice in that entire year. And I was like, there is no way I'm risking my life 2 times, once in an active combat zone, once next to an active combat zone for $38,000 a year.
Yeah, it's not the greatest. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
You think? I don't know. What do you think is like a good salary range for people in the military? Because I think my first paycheck, my boot camp paycheck, was $494.
Yeah.
I remember it. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm happy to just say that I was not as financially literate back then.
Yeah.
Because there's no way I would have been okay with everything that happened. It's really hard to say like a number to put on something like that, because of course there's all the benefits that come along with it.
That's true. What number would you have been like, okay, maybe I'll stay?
It would have been really high,
Really?
honestly. They would have had to sign a signing bonus of at least $50,000, and then I would need at least $75,000 to $100,000 a year for me to stay in.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
That's
there was
fair.
not a chance that I was staying in for any longer for what I was getting paid.
Yeah, that's true. You are risking like your life for stuff like that, and then people are on the computer just typing away, getting $200,000 a year.
Exactly. One of the biggest things that always made me upset is I've always been a decent worker, but it was like I was getting paid the same amount of money if I sat on the toilet on my phone and hid the entire day, or if I was outside sweating, sprinting around.
Yeah.
I was getting paid the same, and I was like, "Yep, no."
Yeah. How were those deployments? Like, how was Afghanistan? How was Poland?
So the first one was Afghanistan. I think that was 2021.
Okay.
It was it's a bittersweet, because I mean, if you ask anybody that's never been in the Army, they would be like, oh, that's so scary, why would you ever do that? But then if you talk, like a lot of the people that I deployed with, we were all excited. For one, it's because like we trained for years for this moment, and it was like the final time that we actually got to display our skills. Of course, yeah, it was completely different, and looking back at it, I was like, that was insane.
Yeah.
But we got to actually use what we learned over the years, all the time that we spent down at ranges, practicing just shooting, actually using it.
Yeah, that's true.
Instead of just, oh, let's act as if we are with laser guns.
Yeah, okay. So how was the Poland one? How does that one compare?
Oh, gosh. That one was honestly completely different, because that wasn't an active combat zone. We were more or less on the back burner, just waiting.
How long were you there?
About five and some change, 5 months.
Okay.
In a couple days. But for the main thing, we first got there, no one knew what was happening. Of course, because it was a quick deployment, we just needed bodies close to it in case we had to go in. So it started out super simple. We were just going to go over there. We got sent to this one place, and we were just supposed to do security. It was all fun and dandy until we started doing securities and we were pulling 18-hour shifts. You would literally work a 12-hour shift sitting there just like
Mm-hmm.
waiting, twiddling your thumbs, waiting for something exciting to happen.
Yeah.
And then did another 6-hour shift where you were on call. You could have some, sleep while in that 6 hours,
Mm-hmm.
but someone had to be awake, like manning the radio in case they needed extra people, which only happened a handful of times. But it wasn't like you ever got full night's sleep for like 2.5 months we were doing that. And then we got switched to another place, which was a lot more relaxed. But it's just like we had no phones also. All of communication to the outside world cut.
Okay. So where were they at? Like who had the phones and things like that?
Only higher ups, like generals, because we were amongst 2 stars, 3 stars, 1 stars, pretty much everybody, because we were protecting. So since we were the military police, we were literally protecting like the central, basically the brain of the operations for the first couple of months. And they were the only people, because we would literally be like sitting there twiddling our thumbs, looking out windows, guarding ways that people can't come into the fob. And you just see generals like walking around with phones, and I'm like, must be nice. It was sad.
So wait, so where did you guys have them on you though, or like who exactly?
No.
Like, so when you went, that's what I'm saying. Like, where were they physically located?
They were physically locked in a box.
Oh,
The first day we dropped, they said, turn your phones off, turn your Apple Watches off, turn your Switch off, turn anything that pings, makes a notification, or has an electric charge, and turn them in.
Okay.
So we had to turn them into a box. We had no idea where they were.
Yeah.
The scariest part is like in the modern society, like everything is gone through this phone.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is paid, electronic, reoccurring. So I know me personally, one of my biggest fears is that I would start getting late payments and things like that, because I have multiple accounts and I only put X amount of dollars for my bills because I don't like to spend over what I planned.
Yeah.
So once a month they would let us get our phones for like 2-3 minutes.
Okay.
Just to
make sure you have.
make sure everything was good financially, because a lot of people had that problem.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I know people in the military, they're not the financially savvy.
Yeah, I will say that's why most people are still in.
Yeah.
They don't understand what that time equals money, and they don't really want to branch that.
Or some do, and they want to stay in for 20 years, and then I don't know. Did you have that mindset when you first went in?
Oh yeah, I was oorah. I was like, oh yeah, 20 years, that's me. No one can do it. I can do it. And then 5 years hit, and I was like, no, not a shot.
Yeah, I couldn't see myself doing it either. I was like 20 years for sure when I first got in. I just couldn't see it. But why'd you choose PMO?
I chose the military police, I'm assuming is what you meant.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Most people hated us or didn't even know what we were. Yeah, so I chose it. I had a couple different options. And, I mean, one thing that people don't know now that I've gotten into, like, high-ticket sales is how well those recruiters are actually trained in sales. And it's insane. They use pullback sales. They dig out your motivation. They dig out a lot from you to close you to sign. And one of the things that the guy got from me, looking back at it now with the knowledge that I have now, is I said that I wanted to be a cop when I got out of the Army. So he would just use that. And of course, military police came through and he's like, oh, that's a unicorn job. It won't be around for long. Usually by this time, they only stay on for a couple days. Okay. So my dumbass signed the next day. Yeah. So it was like, I loved the job. I learned law pretty well. So now I'm, know what not to do and what to do, because a lot of people, one thing that they don't ever teach you is the law. In schools is what I noticed. So it's kind of a thing that I'm happy that I did.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Because I've taken one business law class. And I could not tell you anything about law.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's so much to it. I don't know. What do you think? What did you learn from the Army that you think like everybody should adopt, like even civilians?
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
That's what
I would think too. Yeah.
I come out when I came out and started working. So I came out and did straight in. I joined a real estate team, and I was like, hey, I will work for free for 2 months. And then also to supplement some of my bills when I first started, I got a second job. And just seeing how like lazy, sloppy, slow, reactive people were, instead of like being proactive, seeming professional, wanting to better themselves, people were. It was just like a huge shock to me. And I'm not gonna, like, this is one thing, it's kind of like a touchy subject. A lot of men in the Army are very in your face, aggressive men, and then coming out and not being surrounded by like aggressive men was like a little bit weird. Like, people wouldn't even look me in the eyes sometimes when I was talking to them, and I wasn't used to like another guy not like looking at me and having an engaging conversation because they were a little bit more timid. So I definitely think some of the things that instilled is like the self-confidence, discipline, drive, professionalism to a point. Because, like, fuck that shit.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Yeah. There's only so much you can do with that, like, before you starts getting really weird. How about, do you think, like, the 2-year, because, you know, some countries do, like, the 2-year. How you feel about that? You think that should be something we should adopt? Or you think...
So it's like that touchy subject where it's like, yeah, we could adopt it, but then also with everything else that's going around in society, it's like, who would it be? Everybody, only men, only women? Like, how would go with that? So I think, personally, I think it's great just to see and try it out and learn the disciplines. I mean, there's a statistic that was done, I can't know how many years ago, but it was like there was the percentage of millionaires in the world, most of them had a military background, either parents, themselves, ROTC, JROTC, some sort of military structure that they had in their early development life that they built on. So I think it could be beneficial for people that want to be successful. I just headbutted the mic.
No, you're good. You're good. Okay, yeah, I definitely see that. What was I guess, like, what was some of the hardest things that you had to deal with in the Army, you think?
The hardest thing. So personally, one of the reasons why I joined into a profession where, you know, I'm self-employed is I hated someone else telling me how I had to do something, when I had to do it, and just like overbearing. Personally, that was a big thing with me, that I just hated being overbearing. The military and all, it's structured where you get information up here and it never comes down here. That was number 2, super high. I hated the miscommunication all the time. I bet you experience that all the time.
Yeah, it happened every single day, I swear. I swear every single day there would be something like, oh, this is, because I saw, like, I had like the opportunity to actually be in the meetings with like the CEO and the sergeant major. Yeah. And I would hear what they're saying, and then like a day later I would be like talking to other people, and they'd be like, yeah, I think, like, they would say like, we're going on this field op, like we're gonna go training, blah blah blah. And then they'd hear like, yeah, like we're gonna get this like weekend off, I can't wait, blah blah blah. Yeah, all right. Like, I'm like, I guess they're not passing on the communication or something.
No. Yeah. I don't know what it was, like the disconnect there. I mean, clearly I've never really worked a normal job, but I cannot imagine that it is that bad. Things barely functioned.
Yeah, that was brutal. Yeah, the miscommunication.
We're making up words now.
Yeah, the miscommunication and like I don't even know what it was. Just like some of the leadership that I had to deal with, especially in the Marine Corps, that was brutal. There was, yeah, because you just stick around, you're gonna get promoted.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes when I was in was that if you care more about what your let's just say monthly report or your quarterly report is gonna say than what the troops and how they feel, it's time for you to retire. And I met so many leaders like that. That's honestly one of the reasons why I started thinking, get out, because a leader was just, looking back, retrospect, he just wanted the best from me because he saw potential. But he didn't understand me and how I like to be pushed. And he was pushing the other way. Yeah. So it drove me away from him instead of towards his leadership.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, like, how is the setup exactly? Like, you're in, how many people were you working with, like, on a regular? Like, I don't exactly know how military police works.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, it's quite different from most MOSs because we also work the road and we deploy, so we have the both kind of equal mix.
Uh-huh.
So on an average day, I was a team leader. So I had 2 troops below me,
Okay.
and then a squad leader above me, and then 2 other team leaders that we would work together to accomplish mission. Sometimes it would jump up to 3 people below me. 3. Sorry, I'm a little dyslexic.
No, you're good.
So it was kind of structured, I feel like, pretty normally.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I guess normal to me is not normal to everybody.
Yeah, it is a lot different. Like, you're not in a platoon or you're not in a...
We were in platoons.
Okay.
Like, it would go squad leader, then it would platoon.
Platoon sergeant.
Yeah, damn, it's been a while.
And, platoon sergeant, platoon commander, and then
Yeah.
go up to company.
Yeah.
Okay. So, are you in a company, or how's that work? Like, are you guys like all living in the same area, or like
Yeah.
you guys? Okay.
So, depending on your duty station and how many MPs, because they always segregated us from everybody. Of course, naturally. I mean, who really wants to spend time with the cops?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Fun fact. The cops were actually getting in trouble more than most other people.
Okay.
Yeah, but most people didn't want to spend time with us, so they always segregated us
Mm-hmm.
into littler areas. Most times you were staying at least with your company, and then battalion was at least a mile within a radius.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was pretty tight-knit.
Do you think you were properly prepared for exiting the military? Do you think like their transition program was everything it could be? Because how I went through it, it was pretty, like, I think we got 5 days of doing your resume, doing all like how to do interviews and things like that. Like, it was pretty short, and it's just kind of like you do another interview with your CO and you do another interview with like the first sergeant or something like that, and then you're kind of
Really?
done. Yeah, you don't really do that much. Yeah.
Ours was completely different. We didn't have anything that in depth. Anywhere near that. We do this thing called SFL TAP.
Okay.
And basically with doing that, you go through, it can be anywhere from 1 month to a 3 month kind of thing, depending on how soon you start the program. And they do show you a lot of things, but it's in big class seminars, so it's like 20 people. So it's not like they're actually like, hey, start your VA benefits now, or start applying for jobs now. They're like, you should, I would, you could. So no one really actually is setting you up for success, but they're doing, I would say, the best that they can.
So it was like a month long, or like they like it's what?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So you don't go in every day. You'll go in like once, maybe twice a week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. It's pretty spread out depending on when you can book your own appointments for your kind of schedule on how you do things.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. But usually from that period, that's when the company starts to take their, their grippers off of you and start to let you live life a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I might have used and abused it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody probably did.
Yeah, I took like a whole month off just saying that I was going there.
Yeah. I mean, I missed the entire 45-day field op training exercise because I was just about to get out. Yeah. And I was like, I had to go to this, like a couple things, and like do like my medical, physical and things like that. So
yeah, we did that too.
I was like, I can't go. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Man.
I would say the one thing I wish they prepared me for before I got out, which of course one of my close friends did, but of course everybody's young, dumb, and doesn't actually believe people nowadays. So I didn't really use his advice as much as I should, was getting set up for like my VA stuff prior to actually getting out. So then when I got out, they literally just, you're on your own, big fella.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
They really did.
Yeah.
I think I started mine like maybe a month before I got out or something like that, but it wasn't too horrible. I know some people have a horrible time with it.
Yeah.
And have you been to the VA here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been to, well, not to the actual VA clinics or anything. My first appointment is actually coming up, but I went to my VA appointments for like disability and like wellness kind of thing checks, just to see where I am physically now that I'm fully out.
Yeah.
That's about it. I mean, they were pretty quick about it. They did. Honestly, it happened once I applied like a month later, which I was actually quite surprised because they said I could be like 6 months out.
Yeah, they do. I think because I think during COVID it was really far pushed back. So like people weren't getting theirs for like 6-8 months or something like that.
Yeah,
So,
that would have been a little scary if that happened.
yeah. Back pay would have been good.
Yeah, it might hit different. I'm not gonna lie.
That back pay would have hit different for sure.
I will say that's the one thing where because I mean, I anybody who's gone through anything in the military, tragic, and actually does have, you know, your disabilities, get them. And then how I look at it now is those 5 years, I look at them as not like something that I did in the past. It's an asset. And with my VA disabilities, I literally count that towards my cash flowing asset and one of my assets. And now, since I've set up everything, and of course I've cut back on a lot of things that I used to do when I was in the Army, it pays my bills every month. So now my commission just sits on top in a high yield investment and just is making money on money.
That's solid. That's
Yeah.
solid. Yeah, there's so you, all right, I guess we can transition into kind of like talking about real estate. So you work for high performance
real estate advisors.
Okay, high performance real estate advisors. Okay. So I was looking like a little bit into them. So there's a couple like competitors like that they have, like the Brokerage House Realtors in Charlotte. I'm not sure if you know who they are.
Yeah,
or
never even heard of them.
Dickens Mitchner Residential Real Estate.
Not even heard of them.
Yeah. So why did you choose high performance, and kind of like what exactly are you doing there?
So I chose high performance real estate. So when I was getting out, I applied for a program, TSP, Transition Assistance something. It's basically like you go for the last 6 months while you're still actively in, or less. That 6 months is the max. And you can go and try a new job out and see if you like it. And if you do like it, sick. And if you try the civilian life for a couple months and you're like, no, like I want to re-up, they'll let you can re-up still. I apply. It's through the Army. I don't know if the Marines had it.
We did. I just don't remember what it was called. But yeah, it has like similar
like
thing.
that.
Like had a friend go to the wind turbine school, or like electrical engineering. I think they had like a couple other things. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So that's what you.
Yeah, pretty well. That's what I tried to do. I actually applied for it 4 different times and got denied every single time. So then at the end of it, I had 80 vacation days stacked up, and I sent out mass emails. And well, not mass emails. It was only like 4 or 5 people that I emailed. I was like, hey, I want an internship for free. You don't have to pay me a single dollar. I just want you to teach me. And I sent them out. 2 days later, High Performance Real Estate Advisors, their talent acquisition, because it's not like what people normally think when they think of real estate, where it's like one person running around with like tons of papers, like always behind. Like it's a full functioning machine, like talent acquisition, training coaches, a whole sales team, a whole back end team.
Okay.
So the talent acquisition reached out to me and he's like, explain this to me a little bit better. So I explained the whole thing that I was trying to do with him, and he's like, okay, we'll get back to you in a couple of days. And I had 1 or 2 others reach back out to me, but I was like, you know, I want to work with the best. And clearly the best is going to be proactive, reaching out to people that are inquiring. Let's just say if it's a lead, someone wants to sell their home. They're going to get on that pretty quick.
That's true.
So when he reached out to me, he was the first one. And I was like, all right, let's put these on the back burner. Let's see what he has. Of course, I still use it as a bargaining chip to try to join. Or I was like, well, if you guys are taking too long, I can join somewhere else. But they were like, yeah, come and do it. So they were the first ones, the fastest ones. And honestly, I would not look back. Other people have offered to have me interview with them, and I have no need. I have literally no need.
Okay, so like, yeah, what is like the process with all of that? So you joined, and then you said they have a training program. Yeah. So how does that work?
So normally, I was very different. I am an enigma to say. Okay. So because most people aren't super, like I'm gonna do this. I just need to find where type. So I went through a complete different training process than most people. Normally they come on the team. Usually they already have their license. I didn't have my license yet. So I was working as an inside sales once I actually started. But they come on and they have to do the first day 500 dials. You have to call 500 random people. That they give you a list and you just have to call them.
It's cold calls.
Yeah.
Okay.
For an entire day, 500 dials. You'll probably talk to about 50 people. Most of them are telling you to go, suck a fat one and fuck off. So Yeah, it's wild.
I was gonna say, did you get any conversion on that day? On that first day?
I never had to do that.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah. Mine was a
Gotcha.
little bit different. I didn't have to do much that on in processing, like like in style training. From that aspect, how I came on is when I followed a couple different people on the team. Like we have a field coordinator. He'll goes out and he'll put the signs out. He'll also hand deliver our pre-listing packet. So before we help somebody sell their homes, we'll deliver a packet on how they could potentially net another $5,000 to $10,000 at closing. And I went with him and I shadowed him, just putting out signs for people, meeting our potential new clients, and then just doing his job essentially, just running kind of the errands, the backbone of it. And then I shadowed a couple different people, like our transaction team. So I got to learn a little bit of it. And then most of my time was spent with the sales teams because that's what I fell in love with. And we do an assessment in Keller Williams where they figure out what you'll be good at based off of, like, I think it was 50 questions.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like, do you like working well with others? Do you like being the leader amongst others? And it tells you kind of like your personality and how you like to be communicated with, how you communicate with others, what kind of path would be good at you. And mine aligned with the sales team, with actually helping build relationships with people. So I spent most of my time there. And then I honestly, my second week there, I walked up to the second highest earner on our team. And I was like, hey, man, teach me. Like, I was like, I don't know my head from my toes here. Like, you tell me to stop saying that, and I'll stop saying this, and I'll say that. Like, help me build connections. Help me build relationships. That's one of the reasons why I would never leave that team until, because one of the things we say is we train our team to outgrow us. Mm-hmm. So you train someone to outgrow you. Until I outgrow them or something else would happen, I don't see a reason why, because real estate's kind of, the more you work and the better you are at doing your job and helping people, it's kind of,
yeah, I feel like the first couple, like maybe the first year, like the first couple of months, like that's the brutal part.
Yeah. There's a quote by Bruce Lee. It's, to master anything, you have to spend 50,000 hours doing anything. And you can spend 5 years, 40 hours a week doing it. I decided, fuck that. I'm going to spend a year maximum mastering, just building the connection on the phone. So I started, I'm not going to lie, when I first started, I was like, yeah, I don't know. It's like cool. It's fun. It's new. So I'd go in like 7:30 in the morning, leave around like 3 o'clock, because there's no clock in or clock out. You just come in, do your work, you leave. Uh-huh. And then when I started to really get into it, I started to work, which was like after my first and a half month when I was in, I started to realize that like my army was going to stop paying me because I'm on vacation. Like I had to start figuring out a way to make money. So I started working. Okay. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. So I started working for like 7:30 in the morning till about 7 at night every day for now about 5 months.
Okay. Yeah. You said that you were able like to do it in the evenings and then Sundays, and I was like, okay, so you're working Saturdays too?
Yeah.
How many of like the other people on the team are doing that as well? Is that like something common? Or
our team, normally, no, it's not very common. There's only one other person who's consistently there with me, and he's the top earner on the team, which now he trains me, and so does the owner of the team. So it's not very common on the team. Honestly, if you want to be a top producer, you got to work and be like the top producers. Uh-huh. So it's not very common in real estate at all. Like most people think they get into it and they're like, oh, this will be fun. I'll get a $12,000 check every month just from talking to people. It's not that simple.
But you don't need your license for what you're doing right now.
No. Okay. No. So I am currently in class. I actually take my state and national exams on the 9th of December.
Okay.
So coming up, I have a couple more weeks, and I have to sit down for 3.5 hours and take a long test.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between the state and the national? So
it's your state-specific questions on real estate, and then your national, so the entire U.S.
Is it the NAR or something like that?
Yeah, the NAR.
The NAR. Okay.
Yeah. I like the research.
Yeah. I was looking into that. Yeah, definitely. There's actually a verdict that came down, and I don't know if you heard about that in
Yeah.
Missouri.
Yeah.
About the whole, like, they think that this 5 to 6% commission should be brought down. Or
So that's one big thing that they can think. I mean, honestly, the commission's going to do what they want because they are the commission. But per the commission rules themselves, they do not govern how we get paid.
Okay.
It's all the pay. We get paid off of how skilled we are. Negotiation, because if we can negotiate a higher commission for you, honestly, don't you think we'd be able to negotiate a higher sales price for you? So you kind of get what you pay for. Like a lot of these, like I do work with a lot of the newer agents on different teams just because I want to branch out and learn different things with everything because I'm a student first. Even though I'm chip on my shoulder, I am a little bit better than them, but so I like to learn anything because the solar agents do things completely different than how we do it because we are like a machine. They're more of friends that I knew in high school, making new friends all the time. We're more of a grind. We call it the blood and sweat and blood, something like that, right?
okay,
Yeah. They're more like elegance and ease. They just have friends, and they might make like 2-3 deals a year, which is very small. But
okay, I was gonna say that's not very good, is that?
it's average.
It's depending on the housing size or the housing price.
Yeah, it does depend on that. But honestly, in North Carolina, an average agent will do anywhere from 1 to 4 deals a year.
Really?
I've already closed 3, and I have 1 active, 1 going active in January.
Okay.
So it's
So how does that
9 day.
how does that split work? So are you guys at like a 6% commission, or like how does that work exactly?
I would love to talk commission. That is one thing I can't because the commission is always negotiable.
Okay.
It's always negotiable. You get paid per your skill. So let's just say you're joining anywhere and you're good at negotiating, you'll get a higher split. So it's not like it's a set standard. Some teams might be like, oh, you've only closed X amount of deals and you're trying to negotiate with me. Show me your value. Like, what do you really have to show us right now?
Okay.
But if it's like a big dog that closes 50 transactions to 75 transactions, a high producer, they might have a little bit more leeway because they're gonna be bringing in them more money. It's a big thing.
So you specialize more in buy side or sell side, or what's you guys is like?
So we specialize in the Charlotte region and surrounding areas.
Just anything.
Buy, sell, invest. We don't do commercial.
Okay.
We do wholesale and flip, but those are more of we don't go out looking for them. If there's someone that we can help that just wants a wholesale price, and because let's just say they need to get out from underneath some debt, and that's just what they want to do. Ultimately, what we'll do is we'll show them the different options. This is what we can get if we give you a check next week at closing. This is what we can get in 30 to 60 days on the market. Which one would you prefer?
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, it's their sale of their home. But I only focus on listings. I help buyers, but listings are harder. And I'd rather fight a bulldog so that when I fight a chihuahua, it's 10 times easier.
Yeah.
I want the hard battles. So that's why I primarily only work with sellers. I do work with buyers. I'm very good with working with buyers. It's just while I'm learning, I want to learn the hard things first.
Yeah. So definitely the sell side is the more difficult, you would say?
Oh, 100%. Because it's how we explain it to like newer people. It's like your sellers are the employees. And the employers.
Okay.
And the buyers are the employees because they're coming to you.
Okay.
So it's a lot easier.
So when you're doing like when everybody's doing calls, like sales, like how do you guys go about targeting? Like, how do you guys know who you're targeting? Like, you're just like, how does that work exactly?
So that's like a bigger thing because it's such a huge realm and so many different avenues you can go. Because ultimately, on our team personally, once you get past a certain amount of time, as long as you're conducting business and you're always always trying to get better and bring in business, you can kind of do it how you want. In the beginning phases, we target different types of groups, but it's not like we're out here like, come here, like we need you so bad. We talk to and we try to make relationships with people that were looking at selling, so people that were actively on the market that either took their home off the market or couldn't sell, because we specialize in homes that didn't sell the first time around.
Okay.
It's kind of like our niche. For sale by owners, because on average, only about 7 of them actually get the home sold on their own. And usually they're taking about a 30% haircut on what they could have actually gotten.
Really?
Yeah. but most people don't know these things because they're not like us. They don't work in it every day. So when we're talking to them, we're like, what are you thinking? But it's perspective.
So that commission is definitely worth it, is what you're saying.
It's worth it. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're in real estate for a commission check, you're probably not going to be in real estate long.
No, I meant like for the home, like the homeowners.
Oh yeah, paying the commission is 100% worth it, especially in the market that we're going into now. It's more crucial than ever because with what you were just talking about, the lawsuit earlier, it's actually targeting like buyers agents, because back in the day there was no such thing as a buyer's agent. You just had somebody and you were going to bring them and you were going to hope that you were going to get paid from the transaction. But you only for certain got paid from a seller. But they had to find a way because somebody once, it's like a whole story where someone once had a buyer that wanted that specific property that the agent didn't have and couldn't get. So he went to that agent. He's like, hey, pay me a referral fee and I'll bring these and I'll give you the name of the buyers.
Oh, interesting.
And he negotiated on his own behalf, and eventually it caved. And over time, the commission was like, okay, maybe buyer's asset agents can be an asset. But now what they're starting to do is, because right now in real estate, the sellers primarily pay the buyer's commission and the seller's commission from whatever commission that listing agent negotiated in the beginning.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So is the listing agent on the seller side? Like, how does that work exactly? Like, are they both, and then the buyer is on a different team or a different broker?
That's a very in-depth question, because it can be either or.
Okay. There's not like any legal proceedings that don't allow it.
There are. Okay. Everything has to be in writing. It's a thing called dual agency. So let's say.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I can have the buyer and the seller and bring them both together, but they just have to both agree that I'm not going to pass personal information from both of them in exchange of.
Gotcha. Yeah, you're not going to screw over both sides to get. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
Or I'm not going to play one side so that the commission check is bigger and make the buyer kind of struggle. So it is possible. You have to be very skilled, and you have to be basically emotionless to the actual transaction itself. Primarily, a lot of, like, even myself, I won't practice it because I'm not as good at what I'm doing yet. I know agents that can do it and will do it because they have so many years of experience and they know what they're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you were talking about, like, especially with this upcoming market, what do you mean by that?
That's a great question. So this upcoming market is going to transition. Of course, I don't have a glass ball and I can't know for certain.
That's true.
But a lot of bankers, investors, people who are actively in the market every day, and seeing it before it actually hits, are saying that there might be a small dip in the market. And honestly, if you look at the trends of where money has been going and prices have been going, you can see it if you take a step back.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's going to start to drop. Like right now is your best time in the next year to sell.
Are you saying more nationally, or are we saying Charlotte? Like, what's the
nationally?
Nationally, okay.
Of course, I can't know for certain. I'm not professional in this. Make that clear.
This is just opinionated.
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah. Anyway. Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Get a cease and assist. I don't got money for that, big fella.
I'll throw a little. This is not financial advice at the bottom of the screen. But so like in the next year, you're thinking that, like, I mean, I guess interest rates. Hopefully interest rates end up start going down. I don't know. Yeah,
it's a potential. It's a thing that so in 2020, when everybody was jumping into the market, real estate agents, real estate investors, buyers, sellers, everybody was getting active. It was a time where a buyer could put a list price offer in with great terms and everything, quick closing, and still get denied because people were putting $50,000 over asking price. It's because everybody wanted to sell, and there was also not a lot of buyers, and with that, it's going to drive price up.
Yeah.
And well, actually, I lied. There was a lot of buyers, so it's going to drive price up with low inventory. There wasn't a lot of homes on the market until later on. But with that, that's what they're going to start to see again. is because as soon as everybody has the same mindset, right? When the interest rates go down, I'm gonna buy.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a great idea. Why don't you do that, bud? And you, your neighbor, your neighbor's neighbor, your best friend, your uncle, your sister's friend, all have said the same thing. I literally talked to 7 people today. Crazy. 7 people today saying the same thing. That I'm gonna wait until interest rates go down. And hey, that's what you want to do? Do it. I'm going to give you the information that if you are the third person that I talked to today that's saying that's going to wait for the interest rates to go down. How much do you think you're going to have to pay over asking just like in 2020 if everybody's waiting again?
Yeah. And they'll just even out.
Yeah.
The interest payment.
Yes. So we say, I think it's marry the home, date the rate. This is the best time to buy, sell right now.
I've heard that. Is that has that been like a common saying, or is that just something that like real estate agents have started to try to say more just because the interest rate is so crazy? Like it's been the highest since like the 70s or 80s or something like that.
I can't say for certain because I don't know the news, but a lot of it is fear mongering. They just want you to be scared of it instead of taking an objective thought process behind it, because a lot of people will listen to things like the news because it used to be credible as gospel instead of listening to an expert. Because I mean, at the end of the day, yes, I will get paid from the transaction. But also, in the end of the day, I don't need just your business. I promise you there is someone getting married, someone getting divorced, and inevitably someone dying that's going to need a real estate transaction. So when we tell people this, of course, they just think that we're just trying to screw them over, especially with scam calls nowadays. It's the craziest time in the world.
Yeah, scam calls are getting pretty crazy, yeah.
I think on average, I get about 3 a day.
Yeah, and especially, I don't know if you heard about the woman that, like, I think they, like, use the AI to get her daughter's voice in, like, Arizona, and she called her, and she's like, hey, I need you to send money to this, like, this number, this account, blah, 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 like, they had me hostage, and she sent a crazy amount of money, and she thought it was her daughter. That one's...
Yeah, that's far... come on,
common
sense.
That one you have to, like, I don't know, ask a certain question that only your daughter would know or something like that. But no, scam calls are going to get crazy in the next few years for sure.
Yeah, with all the AI, those things are crazy. There's AI bots out there that like sales teams are hiring that are just making a sales call for them.
Really?
And they sound like real people. It's insane.
Yeah, how do you feel like the sales economy will get affected by that? Like, do you, in the next like 5 years, I don't know, do you see anything like...
I see it slowly transitioning, but I never think it'll fully cross over. Because the one thing that they can't have, an AI can't have that a human can, is that a feeling of actual connection. And people want connection. Whenever you're on a phone and you're talking to someone, you're pressing 0, spamming 0 to talk to a live agent.
Yeah.
Like, no one's going to want to sit there. And, yeah, the AI might be able to actually process what you're saying and, move towards it. But when you do listen to the robot, you can't hear the emotion behind it. It's like missing something. And maybe they might get it in the next 10 years, but so not.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. No, the AI is super scary. Like, they'll probably be the reason we all go extinct, honestly.
So there's 2 ways to look at it personally. I like to look at anything and how I can use everything to my advantage. So AI can be a crazy thing that'll change everything. But in my realm, I think of it, I'm planning my next 10 years today. So if, let's just say, in 10 years I own my own real estate team, instead of hiring a lot of just salespeople to make calls all day, I'll have a small group of people, of actual agents that will go out, introduce themselves, and they're going to be the face of the agency and actually help these people through the process. And then just tons of bots that'll make the calls all day. Yeah. The mindless calls.
Yeah. How many people is on the team?
We have about 20.
20?
Yeah.
So, like, what's the split? Like, so sales versus...
So, I think it's like 16 of us are on the sales team. And then that would leave, 1, 2, 3... 4, 5, 6. 6 of them are not on the sales team.
Okay. So those are just strictly agents, or what exactly are it? Like
the 6 people are I think most of them have their real estate license, but they weren't, like I said, that test.
Yeah.
They didn't fall in the alignment of being good in sales or talk. We say it's relationship development and relationship making. So they just didn't click high. They either didn't have a high enough like EQ or maybe they just tried it and they got scared. They couldn't handle it, because it's not a walk in the park calling 500 random people a day plus.
Yeah.
And having 50 random conversations with someone that you've never even talked to before.
So is it like you're getting them from the call, if they agree during the call, from like call to listing to sold, like you're in charge of that one person, or how does that work exactly?
So yes, except for once it goes under contract, that's when we do it a little bit different, because we have a whole transaction team. We have people specialize in all the contracts and everything.
Okay.
So once it goes under contract and we negotiate the best deal for our client, they'll take over.
That's when it gets passed on.
Yeah,
okay.
Because at the end of the day, there's nothing more that we can do. We already negotiated the best possible deal that we could get to make both parties happy and successfully move to the end. The next thing on is to pass it to someone who's a little bit better at numbers, ones and zeros, reading in depth. Because at the end of the day, I mean, anybody who's really good at talking is probably not the best at reading. So like,
yeah, doing the math and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Pass it to someone a little bit smarter.
Yeah. So is there anybody on the team that doesn't even have to really do calls? Like they're just like once a week, they have like that client base built. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do they do?
So that's a great question, because a lot of people always ask that, especially when they first come on the team. His name is Brian, and he has closed over 515 deals in 9 years. So a lot of deals.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. That's pretty solid. Okay.
But what he does is he loves the art of building relationships. And so he actually comes in every day and he calls people every day in the office. He doesn't just stay at home and count his dollars that he used to make. He just loves making relationships. So he comes in every single day.
Interesting.
And he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. Most of his business is repeat business or referred business from people that he helped out.
Yeah. How long do you think it took him to get to like that point, like the referred business? How long do you think? What's that?
On average, I can't say on average, because our team, we average about 30 closings per agent a year.
Okay.
Which normally is 4 to 5. So on our team, it's about 2 years when you'll start seeing an influx of referrals coming in.
Okay.
Since you've done so much prior. And it also depends on your level of customer service. If people didn't like working with you, why are they going to give their aunts, their uncles, their daughters your number?
So how does that, like, so, I mean, I know it's like you're kind of independent, but you're also working for someone. So how does that relate? Like, so can you get fired? Can you like, that's what I figured. But like, how does it, I guess, what would you have to do, I guess, to get fired? Or like, what would you have to do since you are like your own agent? Like if you don't make any call, like you don't close anything for a whole year, are you like, is it performance based or is it?
So it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of everything. So they put in if you're not producing, you're getting kicked off the team, especially if you're past we have a 30, 60, 90 window.
Oh, like a ramp up kind of thing.
Yeah, like we start you out with little baby wheels in the very beginning. We all did. And basically someone's pretty much behind you the entire time. And then your 60 days, you're given a little bit of more freedom. You can kind of make your own schedule, but you still need to be actively trying to get better. And then your 90 days is kind of like your big testament. You can try out different things and new things. Then after that, you're kind of cut loose. You come to the area with the rest of us, and the atmosphere completely changes. Before you were in a small little room, and now you're in a big office space. Well, not big office space, but I think it's at least 1,500 square foot.
Okay. Where's it at? Where's the office located?
Valentine.
Okay, gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah.
Good area.
Yeah, it's a nice little area. I mean, honestly, we don't talk about where our office is located because a lot of people get discouraged when they hear Valentine, especially up north, because they don't think that we can service them from being all the way down in south.
Yeah.
But since we're such a big team, we service Charlotte region plus surrounding areas.
Okay. And you're part of is it under Keller Williams?
Yeah.
So what exactly, how does that work exactly? Like, is that are you franchising the name or?
So, well, what it is basically we just hold our licenses under Keller Williams.
Okay.
So ultimately we work at High Performance, which is his own entity. So all of the checks don't go to Keller Williams; they go to High Performance, and then High Performance pays us. But it's just, we hold our license and our MLS numbers, which is the thing that we find all the homes on for everybody, which is completely different than Zillow.
I was gonna ask that.
Yeah.
That's something that I was gonna ask about.
That's
that.
a big thing, and everybody thinks they can just get the Zestimate, and that's the price of their home. No.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how accurate is the Zestimate? Do you think?
Not very accurate. I've went on a couple listings where the Zestimate was, let's just say, $700,000, $532, and the home is valued at anywhere. Well, the one that we went on specifically was valued around $650,000, so it was $100,000 off.
Okay, wow.
So that's a big jump.
That's a big jump.
Yeah.
That's
And then also only 25% of the properties that are on Zillow are there's only 25% of properties on Zillow that are actually active on the market. So when I talk to people a lot, they're like, "Oh no, we're just looking at Zillow." And I'm like, "Okay, well, would you want to see some of the properties or all of the properties that are listed?" And they, of course, think it's just another sales tactic, and they don't want to believe that it's actually, trying to help somebody move forward. So a lot of the times they don't understand because they just assume that it's the same thing when it's not. If it was the same thing, I wouldn't have a job. I'd probably be at McDonald's, like, flipping burgers.
Yeah.
Putting patties on.
Maybe not for long, because even AI is getting to that.
Yeah, literally.
Like, I was just at a Bojangles the other day, and the AI system took my order. I was yeah. I was like, okay.
What to do.
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Yo, bro, is there someone back there at least?" Like,
yeah, I was like, whose voice is this? I was like, this is so proper. I was like, who's talking to me like this?
I think I kind of would like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like not having to deal with anybody, not having to deal with someone with like a terrible attitude for once.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they'll probably be, the last place it'll be at is Cookout. Cookout will be safe for a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, if you go to Cookout and there's no one in there, like.
It's an AI. I'm like.
Yeah, I'll be like, "Oh, I'm not eating here."
Yeah, there's no entertainment with the food.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how is so you said only about 25% is on Zillow. So how is the stock of inventory of houses? I feel like people are saying that it could be there's a lot less houses getting listed, or like companies like Blackstone or like private equity companies are buying up all the houses. I don't know if you guys are seeing anything like that in Charlotte.
No.
Yeah.
Last week there was 1,700 properties that went under contract pending closing.
Oh wow. Okay.
People think just because they hear from somebody or they heard on the news. In Charlotte, the real estate market is insane. And that's one of the reasons why I moved out here, is literally for that exact reason.
Yeah. I was going to ask about why Charlotte.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, that's
the real
why.
estate market was really hot. And I mean, I take advantage of what I have given to me, not what I wish I had.
Not even, it's better than I don't know. I feel like always I see like on Instagram, like the Texas the Houston houses.
Yep.
And
That
stuff
was
like
that was my second option.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Texas. It was Charlotte, Texas, and then I think Tennessee at the time.
Okay.
Were my three options, and I decided Charlotte had the best one for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for growth here, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, especially when you put into factors that this is like the biggest growing city right now, and they have no plans of stopping. So I don't see the housing market ever going down too much.
Yeah, I think as long as Bank of America is here and Wells Fargo is here, Truist, it'll.
Yeah, it's actually a crazy story. Did you know that Bank of America brought the Panther Stadium here?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes.
So what do you mean?
So the owner of Bank of America realized back in the day that the city would never go off and never grow if there was no reason for someone to come to Charlotte.
Yeah.
So what he started doing was buying places to bring people in. The Panthers. There was a couple other. I only know that one for certain. But he just started like buying these places to bring people in, and then he just started, making money off of it. But that's why it's the Bank of America Stadium.
Interesting. Yeah, actually, you know what? Yeah, as you mentioned that, I do remember somebody telling me that, like, his name, Colt McCoy? Or no, something like that.
I forget his name.
His last name is McCoy, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
but yeah, he built he wanted the stadium or the stadium that was built, and then also like the 60-story Bank of America building. Yeah. apparently, I was reading like an article about that. Like it was him and then another guy at, I think what was Wachovia. I think. Do you know Wachovia?
No. Oh, wait. Isn't that the group that he's like a part of, like all the rich people in Charlotte?
No, Wachovia is a bank that went bankrupt, or I guess it went bankrupt in 2008. It was acquired by Wells Fargo. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, never mind.
No.
Awkward. I'm actually gonna leave.
But yeah, no, I'm pretty sure. I think if I remember correctly, it was him and then the CEO of Wachovia. And then this was like back when, like in the 90s, when they first allowed banks to start moving state to state.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bank of America, like they were also trying to like acquire as many banks as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And they came to Charlotte and they were like, I want this big building. So he built one. I think the Bank of America CEO, I think he built like a 30-story building. And then the Wachovia CEO, he built a 40-story building. He's like, you can't beat me. So he built the 60-story one and then kind of stuck like that. So yeah, he's a super competitive dude from what I've heard.
Oh yeah. So the owner of our team, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
He actually like a month back had like a time to sit down with him in like a mastermind. Oh, wow. Yeah, with like a couple different entrepreneurs in the Charlotte region. I think there was only like 15, 20 of them in total, but like literally that's when he figured out about where the market's going and all of that. Because I mean, if there's a man that's going to know, it's probably going to be the man who's literally seeing all the loans that are being taken out.
Yeah.
So he got to sit down with him, and he was just literally giving him all this information about where the banking's going to go, where interest rates are going to go, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And one thing that really showed me is like how well connected the team that I was working for. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going anywhere else.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, not a shot.
Uh-huh.
I was like, there's not a lot of people that can say that they sat in the same room as that guy and learned from, what he learned when he was starting in business.
That is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'd love to get that man on this podcast for sure.
Yeah, I'll hook it up. He has no idea who I am, but I'll try my best.
Yeah, I was like, I think I did the math. I think I know 4 people. There's 4 people in between me and him that I think I could ask. Like, I know somebody, and I know his dad, and then his dad probably.
This is one thing they always say: if you don't ASK, you can't GET.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is ask. I mean, what's the worst thing gonna happen is tell you no, and at least you tried.
That's true. Yeah.
And I bet that they might even know somebody else who would be a great person for this too.
That's true. So.
Or they might not. You just shit out of luck.
Yeah. Can't interview anybody. So what about, you were talking about earlier at like the beginning, like the sales strategies that you were saying like recruiters know, like in the Army and things like that. So what were you saying? You said like clawback and things like that. So
it's a pullback sale.
Pullback sale.
Yeah.
What exactly is that?
So it's a really old fashioned technique that you'll see a lot of older sales trainer teaching young people trying to get into a sales profession. And it's something essentially like we'll sit here and I'll be like, well, you see this new phone? Like it would really solve all of your problems. It's exactly what you were looking for. But I get it. You probably can't afford it. And then literally pulling back the offer.
Oh, okay.
Like making it feel like it's scarcity mindset. And it's in all of our brains. Even I know it and I'll fall into it until I, look at it from a third eye view and I'm like, hold up, slow down. I see what's happening here. And it's literally, it's these things, it's especially like with neurolinguistics where it's pre-programmed in here where you can't really stop it. Because when you pull something away from somebody, you want it more. I call it the Christmas present theory. Like the present that you got on Christmas, cool. You loved it for a week, stopped playing with it. The Christmas present you never got during Christmas, what was it? Most people can always name one present that they never got that they always wanted to get.
Yeah.
Because they never got it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, sales is kind of tricky. Y'all know some stuff. Y'all know some human psychology for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the more you really get into it, I'm obsessed with the art of helping people move forward and like helping people make the decision that's going to help them ultimately. So I love figuring out and learning new things. Especially when I first started looking into sales, when I learned a lot about that stuff and about how how manipulative some people can be. Yeah. Especially it's a whole nother thing.
No, you're good. So, do you see yourself eventually becoming like a broker, or where do you see like your career path in like next 5 to 10 years? What do you think?
So the next 5 years, I'm pretty much just going to be in real estate, progressing, learning, becoming better, until a point where I can make a team and beat the team that I'm currently on. Because at the end of the day, everybody has to have a goal. Like mine are always gonna. I want to have one of the biggest goals in the room because I'm gonna strive for the moon and I'm gonna hit the fucking moon.
Yeah.
But I know that's not how the goal goes. But and then my 10 years is like we were talking about earlier with the Army, like literally just a cash flowing asset. I have other things thrown in different places, but they're long plays. That one's literally cash flowing for me. So when I'm in for 5 years, I'm also going to build on that cash flowing, invest into real estate, get a couple investment properties, more cash flow. And I always, like right now, I'm at a point, like I said, that all my bills are paid and all my commission sits in a high yield. So I always want to stay in that position so that eventually in about 5 to 10 years in that span, I want to start investing into smaller businesses, growing them, and then selling them. Because this was just the engine to get me to the next step.
Okay.
And it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of long nights.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not too worried. Yeah.
I'm sure you'll get there. It'll take some time. It's all about the grind.
I know it will. I mean, I genuinely believe if anybody puts their goal to anything and they actually put a plan in and know when they want to do things, I think it's called like Murphy's Law. No, that's if you write something down. There's a law where it's like if you put a time span, you'll finish what you want in that time span. And I put 5 years. Well, I'm going to put everything into real estate. Yeah. And just amass to where I just have stuff in the bank where I can start investing into higher investments, get into that next bracket, because millionaires are made from real estate, billionaires are made from business.
Interesting. I like that quote.
Yeah.
That's a solid one.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah, for sure. What do you think are some of the biggest pros and biggest cons of being in real estate?
Cons. Everybody hates you.
Okay.
Because they always think you're trying to sell them. Like, I'll have a conversation. I had a conversation at Apple the other day. Of course, I went in. I was literally leaving work, so I was wearing something like this with our team logo on it. And I just started sparking a conversation, and he looked at me. He's like, just by the way, I'm not in the market. And I was like, excuse me? I was like, I'm sorry. Do you get that interest from me? I was like, what? I was like, I apologize. I was like, wait, what the heck just happened? That never happened to me before. And I was like, okay, not in the market. I was like, great to know. And then we kept on talking, and eventually I broke a joke about it. Like later I was like, are you sure you're not in the market? And then I was like, I'm just kidding, man. Like I'm fine. But that's one of the biggest things, because everybody thinks you're trying to sell them when you're in a sales type of job, especially when everybody can be a potential client.
That's true, yeah.
Pros, though, like I said, millionaires are made from business. For the first 4 months, so this is just kind of quite recent where it changed, and it's all up in here. I had a thing. I didn't feel like I belonged. And I was actually closing, like I had a closed deal. I had things working down the pipeline, but I just didn't feel like I was supposed to or allowed to be in there, because where I started in life and where I was now is night and day. So being in a room with someone who has a couple $1 million in real estate, a guy who has a couple $1 million in real estate and $1 million business, just sitting next to them, having like a cordial conversation with them, didn't feel real until like recent, when I just had to like, it's up here. It's not out here. Yeah. Like this, I put myself in these situations. No one put me here. So one of the best things is being able to learn from people who are 10x where I am and where I'm going to be.
Yeah, I believe that 100%.
Yeah.
And then like, is there anybody that you know of that has been on High Performance and then they have gone off to?
Oh yeah.
They had like who's your competitor? Like who's your biggest competitor, or that you guys? Like what's your, I don't even know, like call him your boss or just your broker. Like I forgot his name.
His name is Thomas Elrod. Well, he's the guy who runs the team.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. So like anybody that was on his team that is now out and being successful like somewhere else and like create their own team. Do you know anybody like that?
No.
So you want to be the first?
There is one guy that used to be on the team that is semi-successful.
Okay.
I never met him. I wasn't on the team during. But just like I was talking about earlier, when you asked me if it's normal for someone to be working that many hours, I don't. This is like, I hate trying to be like egotistical, but I don't work normal hours. I don't have normal goals. Like my first 6 months in the business, I was like, I'm gonna close 9 deals. Didn't hit it. I'm only at 3 and then closing soon. But I'm always gonna shoot a lot higher.
Yeah.
Just because I want different. So
I feel like
I'm
a lot
not worried about that.
Yeah, I feel like there's a very small amount of people that are willing to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I literally came from work right now.
Yeah.
And that's a normal. No, I actually left early. Usually I don't live until 6:37 at night. I have women that in my life, but I have no girlfriend.
Yeah.
My family lives in PA. I have a roommate with a dog, so we both take care of her.
Yeah.
I don't really have many things extra because how I've set my life up prior was to hit my goals, which sometimes kind of hurts me because then I don't go out drinking anymore, so I lose out a lot of fun that I could be having. But when I think about the end game, that's what kind of keeps me focused.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I feel that too. Every weekend, I'm like, I kind of want to go out. Like, I miss the good like going out and doing all that fun stuff, but I don't know.
It was actually a quote that I heard today. It was like, going out drinking at bars is taking happiness from tomorrow, today.
Huh.
And I was like, that's so true. I was like, that is deep.
That is deep.
Yeah.
I guess kind of talking about, so who do you have anybody that you look up to in real estate?
Yeah. Thomas Elrod.
Thomas Elrod?
Brian Boger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those two guys.
Yeah.
Those are the moguls of Charlotte. Those are the ones.
Yeah. Those are the two that I'm going to beat.
Okay.
Yeah.
That you're going to beat.
Yeah.
That's your competition.
Yeah.
Gotcha. How long have they been in?
17 years and 9 years.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
17 years.
But it's also an old saying, the only way to beat a master is to become a student. That's why as soon as I could, once I learned from another person that I still do learn a lot from, was his name is Landon House. But then I want to beat Brian, and I want to beat Landon too, but the only way to beat Landon is to learn from Brian, and then I learned that Landon learned from Brian and Brian learned from Thomas, so now I'm learning from the owner, Thomas.
Okay.
Because I want to get it from the horse's mouth, straight from the source.
Got it.
Yeah.
Interesting. So do you think you'll ever? I know everybody's like always talking about you got to get a college degree.
No. Well, yes.
Yeah, that's the.
Yeah. But my reasons are a little bit different. Like, I want to take sociology. Well, one, it'll help my business, the understanding social dynamics. 2, because of the Army with the VA benefits.
Yeah.
It's just another asset. Yes, I'll have to allocate more time to school, but it's just another asset that will be paying me per month just to get an education, which short term is gonna make me lose money in real estate. Long term is going to make me succeed farther than I could have without it. So it's a yes, no kind of. I just don't have a certain date yet when I want to start.
Gotcha. Is there people on the team that do have degrees, or is it just kind of like, like what's the?
Yeah, there's a couple with degrees. There's also someone with a criminal background. As long as it's not like a criminal, like you convicted of murder or anything like that. The commission understands young and dumb pretty well.
Okay.
So they kind of let things go.
That's pretty good. Yeah. What's the training? Wait, so is there like a requirement for your license and things like that? Like what is the?
Yeah. 75 hours of schooling. Okay. Then you have to take a school test. Once you pass the school test, then you have to go to national and state.
So who's the school through?
There's a whole different places. I went through a place.
So it's not through High Performance.
No.
Okay.
No.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you have to go to it's just like a college. Like you have to go to a place that is what's the word I'm looking for?
Like accredited?
Yeah, accredited school for giving out real estate licenses.
I got you.
And I mean, of course, you have to pay for it. It's, as we call it, like you're a broker in North Carolina, and every time you try to get to becoming a real estate agent, you become broker and broker and broker and broker. There's a lot of money that goes into it before you can even make a dollar. So yeah,
I feel like that probably puts a lot of people out of it.
A lot of people. There's only the statistics are on it that only, I think it's 50 or 60% will make it past the first year. 20% will make it past 5. Oh wait, no. 20% will make it past 3. 1% will make it past 5.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think the 75 hours is enough training? Do you think they should up the requirements? Like, what do you feel about that?
So in yes and no, it's so hard to give it because North Carolina is one of the hardest real estate exams.
Really?
Yeah, okay. It's one of the toughest.
Why is that? Do you know? Is
I
it
have
like
no idea.
a laws or anything?
It's just a lot of North Carolina specific.
Okay.
And they're just and there's a lot of vocab that they throw on the test, like the word chattel, personality, and personal property all mean exactly the same thing, and they'll use them interchangeably. And they'll use the word investment opportunity. So they just throw a lot of strange vocab at you that you have to literally just remember.
Yeah, I think that's all of finance. Like any.
Yeah, finance is the same thing.
Yeah, finance, they'll just throw like beta. And it's just like, they're just trying, I think part of it is just like saying big words or saying words that no one else would know what it means, just so it makes it seem like cool. No one else can do what you're doing. That's what it feels like sometimes. Because I'm like, this makes so much sense. I was like, why can't y'all just change a word for this? I'm like, this is not, I don't know.
And tell me, is it the same thing as it is in yours? Because in ours, once you get your license, you don't really use any of the lingo or anything like that. You still use a good amount of it, but not so specific. Is the same thing in the finance world?
I think it just kind of depends. Like, there's a lot of people that I know with like that are getting like the same finance degree that I'm getting, and that have no clue what like anything that we're doing is, like what they're saying, or like there's like we're just going through like the motions, and I'm like, what are you gonna like use this when you graduate? And they're like, nah. I'm like, okay, whatever. But yeah, I think it just depends. Like, I think if you go into banking or things like that, like you're probably not gonna use everything that you're learning in school for sure. I think it's just a check. Like, it really seems like just a checkbox. Like, as long as you know how to use Excel, like you can figure things out.
My grandma can use Excel.
Yeah, no, there's. Yeah, no, it's a lot of Excel. That's what I've learned. But I think it might be different for accounting though. Okay. Because accounting is very.
Yeah, I honestly took an accounting class when I was in high school. I almost failed because it's so difficult to keep up track with all the numbers and all the sheets.
There's a lot to, especially in high school. Yeah, I would have. Yeah, that would have been brutal. I would have definitely failed that class.
Thought I'd look smart if I took it.
Yeah,
turned out I felt stupider.
What they needed in high school is like personal finance classes.
That's actually one of the reasons why I plan on being so successful, is literally to give back to schools. I'm going to start at my school that I went to school with, and starting like kind of like a STEM program, but not science and education, but like entrepreneurial, self-driven, like finances, self-esteem, public speaking, like mental health, physical health, and things like that. Like, not just physical health like gym, like actual physiological, like chemicals in your brain, nutrition, and things like that. Is for that exact reason, because no one ever teaches you like the art of sales, the art of negotiation, self-confidence. You just kind of grow up and you're like, did you get that? Yeah. You gotta do 1 + 1?
Yeah, I'm like, taxes. I'm like,
yes, exactly. If you ever talk to the dumbest I've ever felt is when I talked to a finance guy and I was asking him about tax codes and how to get things written off on my 1099. And I had to stop him after every sentence and be like, okay, explain that. What does that mean? Yeah. And the guy looked at me like I had two heads, but it was insane. Like, there was so much that I didn't understand. And it was like he was speaking a foreign language. Like, he just dropped me off in like Mexico or something, and I was just lost.
Yeah. I think there's like a conspiracy theory, like I've heard in school, is like, the accounting firms, they don't want you to.
I can believe it.
To figure out taxes.
I believe it.
Which is also why, like, the conspiracy theory that they don't teach statistics that in like high school and like middle school. That way you play the lottery and lose all your money.
Yeah. Have you? I'm sure you probably heard of it. That they actually target lower income areas with the lottery.
Really?
Because they're more susceptible to taking chance.
Yeah. That
people with money don't need to take a chance to win a large amount of money. They already have money.
Yeah.
People who don't make a lot of money need that money.
Yeah, they're just gonna throw a little bit each paycheck.
Yeah, I see it all the time, and because someone who I'm close friends with here grew up in a very unlikely situation, and you can see it. The people who grew up in different types of situations are more susceptible to like gambling, winning money, because they want the chance to gain more than they had. Yeah, and it's just it's interesting. It's a whole like. When I listened to a TED Talk once, it was like the mind of an addict. It was just insane. Yeah, definitely eye opening.
Yeah, it's pretty sad sometimes when you think about stuff like that. It's like you hear people are like, "Oh, we're gonna win it this week." Like, it's probably not. And even if you do win, it's probably gonna ruin your life. Yeah,
I'm happy. The first time I ever went to a casino, it was fantastic. That was 20.
Where was it at?
Ocean City, New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah, great place to gamble. Great place. I thought I was a baller. I walked in there. My dad gave me $300. I was hot shit. Walked in there, and I sat down at a blackjack table. There was a nice lady sitting next to me, and I kept on playing, and eventually she looked at me and she's like, "You don't know what you're fucking doing." And I was like, I looked and I was like, "Yo, chill." I was like, hey, like, I don't. I figured out later in life that I was playing so bad that I was messing up her game.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because, like, I guess the number of cards, and I was just playing on the wrong, like, I was playing on 21 blackjack, and I was taking the wrong cards or hitting on the wrong type of cards where it was giving better odds to the dealer. I had no idea. I was just trying to get 21 or at least 19.
Yeah.
And let's just say I left there $300. Actually, technically neutral because it wasn't my money, but never decided I was never going to gamble again.
Yeah, $300 burger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe I don't know how those are legal. I mean, it's crazy. They make so much money, like especially in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're cash cows. Yeah. They're cash cows. People think they're going to go in there and make money. They make if you've ever seen an ROI sheet from a casino, it's insane how much money they bring in a month.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. Do you know what's one of the most profitable businesses? Retirement homes.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Retirement homes are the most okay. Yeah. I could see that for sure.
Low expenses.
Yeah, low expenses. You're gonna have them probably locked in for another 20 years.
Turnover rates very low.
Yeah.
This is actually a thing that I was listening to a different financial podcast, and they were talking about how that's going to be one of the best investments in 2024 and 2025 because the number of boomers that are in homes right now, I think it was at 30,000. And then they looked at the number of boomers population, and I think it was around like 50,000, or it was 30,000 they were at. I don't know. Basically, it was a lower number, and then the next generation of people who are going to start moving into retirement homes was almost 2 times that, and they already can't fulfill the amount of beds in retirement homes. So it's literally just going to be. I was thinking, dang, that might be my first business.
It's gonna be a good investment property.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's like just buy like an old business, get into some corporate building, and just turn it into a retirement home.
Yeah.
It definitely, I know, like, you have to find a specific area because it can't be, like, the middle of Charlotte.
Yeah, no, if you do it outside, like, I'm pretty sure there's a big one in Pineville that I've heard about.
Really? See, that's the thing. That's another weird thing to me. Have you ever seen a retirement home?
I've only seen once. Yeah, I've only seen them once. Yeah.
Yeah, where are they?
I don't know, yeah.
Like, I've never really seen one.
They're just hidden.
Yeah, I guess they are. Yeah. It's like strip clubs. I guess they have to hide them away.
Just be all over the place. Yeah, that's funny. So I kind of wanted to get back to asking about like another military question about like do you think the military has a suicide problem?
Do I think? I will answer the question with numbers instead of opinion.
Got it.
the military has a higher suicide rate
Uh-huh.
than civilian life.
Why do you think that is?
Stress.
You think it's stress?
Yeah, people can't handle stress.
Uh-huh.
It's very hard to overcome stress if you're not fully prepared. And this is a personal thing that I firmly believe in. And I mean, I 100% accept anybody who wants to go on pills. I have been on pills for certain things.
Uh-huh.
And I got off them because I wanted to find a longer and more reliable way to handle such problems.
Uh-huh.
Because a pill is just like putting a Band-Aid on a scar.
Yeah.
You're going to have to keep on putting on more Band-Aids. But if you stitch it up and find a long-term way to actually seal the wound,
Uh-huh.
you're good for the rest of your life. Like I've suffered with really bad anxiety ever since after the military, actually. And they would diagnose me and they were like, hey, we can give you pills today. And I looked at them and I was like, give me a different way outside of a pill. And they almost looked at me like I was stupid. Because I guess not a lot of people opt out from taking medication for like things messed up here.
Yeah.
But I looked at them and I was like, I want to find a way to deal with this on my own so that whenever, let's just say, if I could not afford these pills, I'm not going to be attached to a pill where I can function and figure out a way to function. Humans are built to adapt.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. We're not.
Yeah. We're not like, we're putty. Like, you're moldable. You're changeable. So that's how I live. I can always find a way to do it better. And I just don't like pills.
Did they give a solution?
Yeah, they told me to take off my Apple Watch and breathe more.
Breathe more.
Yeah, I was like, it has some science behind it.
Yeah.
But I was like, they just weren't. I don't think they were really prepared to like with alternative medical medical options.
Yeah, I feel like our medical system is very what's the word? Like fix the issue.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's very reactive, not proactive. Yeah, which I wonder if that's like going to continue or what. Cause
100%. I mean, so the best thing about living in a capitalist world is you can get the best treatment for the most amount of money. The worst part about living in a capitalistic world is that everything costs money and everybody needs to make money. So when you put those two together, if I'm making money from something, why would I stop it if I also need money? So there's no real checks and balances there, and I'm can't say that's a bad thing because I also work in sales where I get paid for my business and my business model.
Yeah, it's a interesting concept because like we wouldn't be where we're at if we didn't have capitalism.
No,
like we would not be. If everyone was like forced to make the same amount of money and things like that. But I feel like there probably is like a peak to it at some point. So I'm wondering like where that is. But yeah, the pharmaceutical industry is definitely something that's crazy. How much power they have, like how much that whole like the conspiracies, which I don't know if they are conspiracies, but it's a crazy industry.
I've always heard a lot about the cancer. And about how they already have a cure for the cancer, and they just didn't want it because they make so much on chemo. And that's honestly the one because I love conspiracies, but I don't love getting too deep because I can't control it. So I'm not gonna waste my time. But I love like just hearing about it and thinking about it. You know, when I'm bored. Yeah. And I'm like, that one kind of makes sense.
Oh, it does make sense.
I mean, if someone found a better and easier way to sell real estate without an agent, I'd be like,
like this technique is gonna get rid of all agents ever.
Yeah,
it's like, ooh, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, big fella.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Hey, come with me real quick. Yeah, just around here. Yeah, I don't know. I have to do something at that point.
Yeah, though I don't know. Maybe like. I'm sure AI will come up with a solution or something like that. Some artificial intelligence will come up with it probably. I don't know.
What if you could look up on AI and put in like the cure for cancer and it gave you chemical compounds?
That'd be
That would be pretty insane. I know that's super outlandish, but like,
Nah, I mean, maybe one day. I'm sure like probably just a whole bunch of combinations. Eventually, it'll figure it out. Just keep testing and testing and testing and testing. But yeah, no, it is crazy how their first thing was take these pills. It's like,
yeah,
I was like, I'm pretty sure exercise might help, or
yeah, it did.
Doing some other things like sleep.
Yeah, honestly, like, I believe just a part of part of solving any problem is honestly just realizing you have a problem or there is a problem present. And when I started realizing that I was anxious a lot and that I couldn't relax, I started to relax more because I would start to notice those times when I was super like anxious and I was like freaking out. And then I would just, is there a tiger chasing me?
It's like,
No. So I'm not going to die. One more check. Okay. And then I just started to realize that it's up in here and not out here. And I just had to flip it and be like, okay, here's my problem. How can I make it an advantage or how can I solve it? And it helped out a lot. Yeah, I mean, of course, for 5-10 minutes, I'm still going to be super anxious until I can slowly bring myself back down to neutral. But taking a pill would never have given me the same result.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, personally.
Maybe for a little bit.
Yeah.
A little nice.
Yeah, I can't really say much about depression though, because I've personally never felt like I have it. I know it shows up differently for everybody, but I've never felt like I had a point where I needed to go talk to somebody about me having a bad day.
Yeah.
So I don't know how other people's depression have felt, so I can't really speak on that.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting, especially like now with like social media. I feel like in the past like 20 years, like it's definitely more known about all that stuff. Like,
yeah,
no one's granddad was saying that they were depressed or anxious or anything like that.
No.
And so yeah, I wonder, like, sometimes I wonder if it is like overly diagnosed, yeah. Which, I mean,
it's hard to tell.
The pharmaceutical, like the entire medical industry will tend to do things that bring in more profit. So that's why I am worried about like that for stuff. And like, I don't know if did you have ADHD or?
When I was younger.
Yeah.
I still technically do. But I found ways to cope with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does that, because I've always wondered, like, how does that feel? Or like,
So it's hard. So this is a thing that I've actually thought about in longevity, and it's a side topic, but it's the same philosophy. I wondered. It kind of goes in. I guess I'll use the best analogy is like colorblind.
Okay.
And I mean, you can know because it's so common to talk about different colors, but you don't really know what green looks like if you've never seen green.
Interesting.
So I never know. I can't explain ADHD to you because I don't know how your brain works.
Yeah.
I only know how up here works to me. And I can use what people explain to me how their brain works, but I can't understand it because I've never done it. Yeah. I've never had it. Yeah. Like I can multitask. I can quite easily, and just keep up with both things. I know some people say they either think visually or auditorily. I think I use both. Like I'll be thinking, talking in my own head, and picturing it, making it in my head at the same time. So it's just like different times. Like caffeine puts me actually in a calmer zone.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that normal for?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, because usually because you'll basically hit a point where you can't go any higher.
Okay.
So like neutralizes it and calms you down.
Interesting.
Yeah. Of course, always chasing the dopamine. That's probably the hardest one. Is like you always want to be doing the next exciting thing. And I think honestly, that's where the Army really helped me. Yeah. Was narrow in what I wanted to do, because now I'm really good at consistency. Doing the same thing every day, same time. Sorry. Same food. And like just doing same consistent things, and I will contribute that to a lot of the military. But that's like a huge thing, is always looking for a different fix to raise your dopamine back up.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a crazy mindset. Like I can't even like picture like how it feels or anything like that.
No one can.
Yeah.
It's just like if you're like if you have special needs, like everybody always says, do you think they know if they have special needs or not? Like, for them, that's normal.
Yeah.
That's life. The only thing is someone's going to tell them, but they don't know what special needs is compared to normal because they've never seen the difference.
Yeah. Do you think so? Like, I always get the question, like you're doing so well out after you got out the military. Like, so why are there so many homeless veterans? And
laziness.
Do you think that's? Do you think? I always wonder if it's like, what is this? They say like correlation without causation. Like, it's just there's gonna be, if there's tons of people in the military, there's gonna be homeless people that just happen to be in the military.
Yeah. I mean, people also use it. I mean, Veterans Day is coming up, right? So people also just use that as a ploy to their advantage because people like just say Veterans Day, people always try to act as if they were prior military, get the discounts, free meal, free couple meals, free, literally can eat all day free if you go to different places. So I can't say for certain because I don't talk to every single homeless person I do. Honestly, this is gonna sound really shitty, but I avoid them.
Yeah.
I've worked very hard. I can't say I've been in the same situation as them, but I've worked very hard for what I do, and I would see. There's definitely has to be people out there that just hold signs that say I'm a veteran and they're not a veteran.
That's what. I believe that for sure. And do you know? Like, do you have any experience or like, do you know anybody? Like, do you know anybody that struggled with transitioning out?
Yeah, of course I do. Like, I know a couple people, and they had these big dreams, big goals once they got out. And then they got out and reality hit that no one was going to babysit them anymore, that they had to hit these goals. Yeah. They had to hit these dreams. And they just went back to whatever they were doing prior to even going in. Like, I think the guy that I'm referring to still works at like a Honda dealership before he went in and now just went back to the same spot. And I think he's making either the same or less than he was when he was in the military. Yeah. He just couldn't handle the be here now type of lifestyle. So he found a way to get out.
Yeah, I know it's like a couple people just like that. Yeah,
I bet you have some crazy stories on that.
What, like
people that you know?
The getting in, like, yeah, I mean, the Marines, I swear they accepted anybody because we had a few dudes that were like in my battalion that were like in the Bloods in Atlanta.
Yeah,
and
wow.
I'm like he was explaining it to me and I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, like I was like, he was like trying to explain like how like the ranking system works, and I was like, he was like, I'm kind of like the equivalent of a sergeant in the Bloods, and I was like,
what?
I was like, what?
That's elaborate, big fella.
Yeah, I was confused by that. He's like, I mean, it's kind of hard to talk to, some, I don't know. For me, he had one of those like horrible accents. Like I could barely understand him. Yeah. And he also was getting kicked out when I was talking to him about this. So he really was like one of those dudes you couldn't really talk to.
Yeah, he was like exiled from the whole company.
Yeah. But I was just like, okay, that's interesting. But yeah, no, there's some crazy dudes. Let me think. There was, one guy ordered LSD like on base. That was the rumor. Yeah, he ordered it to his PO box, like from the black market.
He couldn't find a local dealer.
Which, yeah, I don't know, like what it was. It was way before COVID. Like it was 2018. I'm pretty sure. So it wasn't like he couldn't get off base or anything like that. But yeah, no, that was a crazy incident that I heard about. And then, I mean, there was plenty of stories of people doing drugs. I don't know if you guys had that issue, like people doing drugs in the barracks all the time and things like that. And I'm like, how does that get through? And then also about I was in San Diego, so right there, right near Tijuana, and there was tons of Marines that were like, they'd go down there and then somebody would be like, hey, like we'll give you like $5,000 to bring us across the border, like bring us on base or something like that.
Bet.
Yeah, no, there were some crazy instances with that. Like there were, I think it was right when I got out or like a little bit after, there was a couple dudes that they got in trouble for, like their company commander or their battalion commander like found out about it, and they were like, okay, let me just expose them in front of like the formation, like the whole battalion. So he called them out, and then they actually ended up getting like the charges dropped because of like public humiliation.
I mean, that's fair though. I feel like that's definitely pretty messed up there.
It was pretty messed up. But I mean, it's also like that Sergeant Major's probably been in for 25 years.
Yeah, so
And
he's used to the old army.
When he was in, like, that was probably okay to do. Like, they'd probably love that. Talk about that.
What was it like being right in Tijuana?
I mean, it wasn't nothing crazy. I mean, because we were an hour away, so we weren't right beside it, but like
Still pretty close.
Yeah, still pretty close. And there's definitely stories. I had friends that went down to Tijuana, like on 72s or 96s. Like, they would just go down there and hang out. Like,
That's wild.
yeah, I was like, I'm never risking that one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's nothing that nice down there.
Yeah, I'm good. I was like, I'm sure they got. I think he was talking about like they have like nice strip clubs and like.
Bro, what?
I was like, okay, yeah, but
I guess the conversion to dollars pesos to dollars is pretty nice.
yeah, I'm sure but no, because there's also the issue of like people just come up, like the cops will just come up to you and be like, all right, we're gonna arrest you unless you give us $200, and it's like, okay, here's $200, and they're like, all right, we're still gonna arrest you, give us 200 more. I'm like, that's crazy. Like, I had a couple friends that got thrown into like Tijuana jail.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how'd they get out?
So somebody else came down. I guess I don't know how they called. I guess they got a phone call. I don't know what happened exactly, but I guess somebody drove down, and I mean they were all Mexican, so they spoke Spanish and everything like that. Like, I guess he bailed them out, which is a crazy thing. But yeah, no, I was not willing to risk that at all.
I wouldn't. First of all, are you guys even allowed to go down there?
No.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Mexico is. I mean, I don't remember the tier ranking systems, but like there's some countries where you have to get like really high approval to go and like leave there. That was one of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they might have been kicked out if anybody found out.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, I don't know. I would not have been joining that trip.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go to Mexico, but like a nice resort, like someplace nice.
Cancun's probably nice.
Yeah, I've never really actually looked into booking a trip to Mexico.
Yeah.
I just love traveling.
Yeah, I think Cancun is that's the resort location.
Okay.
I think that's where everybody goes. That's where everybody does their honeymoons and things like that.
Honestly, fuck Mexico. I want to go to Miami during spring break. I heard it's crazy during spring break.
I'm sure it probably is.
Yeah, I don't even know how long I'll stay. I honestly book a one-way ticket just so that, if I'm like, all right, this is too crazy for me. Because, I'm not 20 anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to hop on a plane and head home. But, at one point in my life, I have to be in Miami during spring break.
That's true.
Like,
it probably would be fun.
Yeah. It just is like stories. Like, I like to do things for stories.
Mm-hmm.
Good stories. To tell on podcasts.
Yeah, you better go for it. Miami in the underwater, because I know they're like slowly going underwater.
All right, it looks like I gotta book my ticket soon.
Yeah. You got like 2 spring breaks left.
Oh, okay, cool, sick.
Yeah.
I love to hear it.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like we've been talking for a while. It's been a little bit, so definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, of course.
Coming on the podcast. First podcast getting posted, first recorded. So
Yeah.
I definitely want to get you back on another one for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm definitely trying to
after a couple
get as many conversations as I can with tons of people. Yeah.
Honestly, I one of the biggest things about me, like especially with looking for friends, is like loyalty and always pursuing a bigger reason, like a bigger goal. And if you're doing things like this, and like you said, you're trying to look in the finance range, people with like interesting stories to tell. If I meet and come across the people like that, I'll definitely push out the number, because at the end of the day, you succeed, everybody succeeds, because it's symbiosis. The people that you hang out with, if they're starting to level up, you're not going to want them to level up unless you're going up with them.
Yeah.
Like,
you don't want to go up together. Yeah.
So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but thank you. I don't know if you want to do a plug or anything. I'm probably just going to throw your Instagram and everything at the beginning.
If you're looking at buying a home, selling a home, or investing in real estate, give me a call, 704-321-4956.
All right, thanks.